Friends, welcome to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. Mark. Some people believe that everything that happens for a reason. I assume that these people believe that it is fate, God's will, karma, kismet, or something else that determines events. I tend to believe that this is just an accident, both good and bad. Of course, we can influence things with our actions or inaction, but mostly I think that bad things happen, regardless of whether we want it or not. My wife Amy and I have planned a trip to the beach resort of Sea Island, Georgia. We bought tickets and booked a table. We invited her older sister Sherry to come along with her 2 children. Sherry is divorced, with children the same age as our two, 7 and 9 years old. We often do things together because all the kids get along well. I told Sherry that I would give her this vacation in the hope that she would take care of the children for a few evenings to allow my wife and me to go for an adult walk. She enthusiastically agreed and joked with Amy that her younger sister needed to put her feet in the air. We planned to travel together in our oversized SUV. It was about 6 hours to the beach, and I thought it would be okay for the 7 of us to spend that time in the car. We have booked 2 connecting rooms with 2 queen-size beds in each room. Our stay was supposed to last 10 nights. 2 weeks before we left, Amy was called to the big boss's office and told that she needed to go to Jacksonville to hold a meeting with a client that the boss would not be able to attend. She was expected to attend several community events on Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon, followed by an extended contract meeting and negotiations on Monday. If all goes well, she could come to Sea Island and join us on Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. Needless to say, I was unhappy traveling with Sherry and the 4 children, but I couldn't think of any other way to deal with the circumstances. This meant that Amy would not be with us on Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and possibly Tuesday. Her company paid to take her to Jacksonville on Friday afternoon and provide her with a rental car that she could park on Sea Island when she joined us. Not the best start to a long-awaited family vacation. Bad things happen. Mark, dear, I'm so sorry that this happened. I was looking forward to spending some adult time with my husband, an exhausted Amy said, snuggling up to me. It was Thursday evening, and it was a hectic week as we tried to get all the kids' stuff ready for the trip. Amy worked late getting ready for her important assignment. Now the 2 of us were lying in bed, too exhausted to even think about romance. It's okay. We're going to have a week together on Sea Island. I'm excited, but I'm too tired to do anything about it. Me too. I was thinking about you this morning, and I'm sweating all over, but now I can hardly keep my eyes open, Amy said, yawning widely. Amy, the flight was exactly what I wanted, fast and uneventful. I rented a car and got to my hotel before 6 o'clock. After I cleaned up a little in my room, I called Mark. The call did not last long, as the house was in complete chaos while the children were getting ready for a trip. I apologized to Mark for dumping everything on him and promised to call the next evening. I decided to have a snack, even though I wasn't hungry. The dining room was crowded, but the hostess said I could eat at the bar if I wanted. So I took a seat at the end of the long counter and ordered a grilled chicken salad and white wine. While I was eating, the bar started to fill up with new arrivals. About halfway through my salad, a face leaned over the counter next to me and asked, Amy? It took half a second to realize that the person was talking to me. I turned to face him and almost choked on my last sip of wine. John? Oh my God. I turned my chair around to face him, and he leaned over and hugged me. I wasn't sure if it was really you, but I had to make sure. Oh my God, Amy, how long has it been? 12 years? 14. I think we're getting old, John. Not you. You're still as beautiful as you were when you graduated from high school. How is this possible? I slapped his hand. And you're still the same complete idiot you've always been. What are you doing here in Jacksonville? One of our subsidiaries is making a deal with Elton Manufacturing, and I have to sign it. They're sending me some kind of big wig to twist my hair and make sure I sign. My mouth dropped open as I stared at my old college sweetheart. Well, Big Wig's wife had to have surgery, so he sent me. I guess I'm the one who's going to twist your arms. Have a seat and I'll start. John laughed and signaled the bartender to order a drink as he sat down next to me. So now I know that you work at Elton. What else is going on in your life? Amy looked at her former lover and said, Well, After we graduated from high school and broke up, I was a little upset. I returned home in moped until my father threatened to kick me out. I replied to an email from a recruiter working for Elton, and they hired me. What about you? Yes, breaking up with you was devastating. It took me years to forgive my father for sending me to Europe to work in his Paris office. I stayed there for 4 years. When I came back, I asked around about you, and someone told me that you were married. On the one hand, I was happy for you. On the other, it kind of broke my heart. I stared at his handsome face for a moment and put my hand on his cheek. John, I've never stopped thinking about you. You were my first true love, and I think you will always hold a special place in my heart. He bent down and kissed me lightly on the lips, and then took a deep breath. I dreamed of finding you and starting our life all over again. But bad things happen, and now you're married to some lucky guy. Do you have children? Yes, two, a boy of 9 and a girl of 7. Mark and I have been married for 11 years. I don't see a wedding ring. Are you married? There was a case. It was a mistake. When I came back and found out that you got married, I kind of went crazy. I dated a bunch of girls at the same time. I ended up marrying one of them because she said she was 2 months pregnant. A month after the wedding, she confessed that she had never been pregnant, and we broke up. In the end, I got the marriage annulled and never remarried. I stood up and hugged him. John, I'm so sorry. It's just terrible. I'm sorry that you had to go through this. I hugged him, kissed him on the cheek, and sat down again. He was silent for a moment, then asked, So, are you here alone? Yes, until Monday, and then on Tuesday I'm going to Sea Island to meet Mark and the kids. What about you? My secretary came with me, but she has an aunt here in town, so she's staying with her. I'm booked here until Tuesday morning. Well, we'll have it tomorrow night. I think it's just something like a cocktail and snack meeting. Then we have brunch before the big WTA tennis match at the country club on Sunday. Yes, it seemed a little superfluous to me, but Mary is a big fan of Emma Raducanu and is looking forward to the match. I wanted to let her take her aunt away, but Mary was afraid it would offend our host. Your event host works for me, so I could smooth it out for you, I said with a laugh. John finished the rest of his drink. Hey, they have dancing in the ballroom on Friday nights. I know you used to love dancing. Would you like to try it? I paused for just a second. It would just be dancing with an old friend. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with just dancing with John. Yes, that sounds great. Where are we going? The ballroom was small and the crowd was sparse, so we had plenty of room to move around. I didn't remember John being such an experienced dancer, and I told him about it. Oh, in Paris, I worked with an elderly lady whose husband had a stroke and he couldn't dance anymore. She asked me to support her. I wasn't a decent substitute, so she taught me how to dance. Well, she was a great teacher, and you're pretty good now. As he circled me around the room, I found myself getting more comfortable in his arms. When the music slowed down, he pulled me closer and I rested my head on his chest. In my imagination, the years flew by unnoticed, and I returned to school, dancing with the man I planned to marry. As we moved together, I felt his hardness as he pressed against me. Immersed in the music, I didn't react for a few seconds. Then the fog of memories cleared and I pulled away from him a little. I'm sorry, Amy. Hugging you like this has awakened many pleasant memories for me. It feels so good to hold you in my arms. I just can't fight the attraction I feel for you. Oh, John, I see. I was caught up in the moment, and I'm really pleased that you're hugging me, but I'm married. I love my husband and my family. John moved away from me a little. Of course I understand. Mark is a happy man. I had my chance, but it slipped away. I'm sorry, maybe we should end the evening with this. We packed up our things and headed for the elevators. When we entered, John asked which floor. On the 8th, please. Not bad for coincidences. I'm on the 8th too. We stopped in front of my room and John grinned and then showed me his room card. I'm next door. We both laughed and shook our heads. John put his finger under my chin and lifted my face. I knew what he was going to do, but I let him lean in and kiss me. It was a short-lived kiss, but it was a kiss of love. I pulled away, turned around, inserted my card into the door and pushed it open. Good night, John, I said, closing the door. The next morning, when I got out of the shower, I noticed this, a door in the wall. The wall between my room and John's room. Oh my God, we have adjoining rooms. What are the chances of this happening? I dressed quickly and decided that I would go down to breakfast, left my room and looked down the hall, somewhere expecting to see John coming out of his room. I found an empty table and was soon enjoying my second cup of coffee. Is it okay if I join you? I smiled at John. He seemed unsure of himself, as if he thought I might get mad at him. Of course, please have a seat. Amy, I'm sorry if I've become annoying. Please feel free to tell me to get out of here if I'm being too intrusive. I giggled. Damn it. I actually giggled. Don't be silly. What do you have planned this afternoon? He smiled warmly. Well, I was thinking about going to the beach, but I think I'll just sit by the pool and read. What's on your agenda? Great minds think alike. See you. Sorting through my clothes, I grimaced, remembering that I had brought only the shortest bikini with me. I figured I could start sunbathing before I joined Mark. I also assumed that I would end up among strangers whom I would never see again. Wow, you look fantastic in that bikini, John said as I shed my camouflage suit. I blushed, but I couldn't help but be pleased with John's reaction. I grabbed some lotion and started applying it on my hands and feet. John was watching me closely. Do you want me to anoint your back? John stood up and took the lotion from my hand. I put my hand under my hair and pulled it away from my neck. John quickly treated my neck and shoulders. He rubbed the lotion into my back and under the ties of my top. He was working on my hips and buttocks. With strong hands, he rubbed the lotion dry. We had a nice day sunbathing and swimming in the pool. We had lunch at the pool cafe and enjoyed a cocktail. In the late afternoon, we went back to our rooms. When we got to my door, we stopped. Thank you for a wonderful day, John. He bent down and kissed me. His hand slipped into my hair as he pulled my face down to his. His tongue parted my lips and invaded my mouth. I moaned and pressed my whole body against him. I reluctantly ran my hand over his chest and pushed him away. I'm sorry, John. I shouldn't have done that. I have to come in. He stepped back, giving me the opportunity to insert the card, push open my door, and rush inside. It took me a few minutes to lower my heart rate. I called Mark, and Sherry answered the phone. He went downstairs to get more ice. Are you terribly bored there? We're having a great time. Mark is so sweet, I probably won't give him back to you. What? Oh, yes, I'm glad you're having a good time. I need to take a shower and get ready for the event here. Give Mark and the kids a kiss for me. Oh, with pleasure. Bye, sis. I was just packing my purse when I heard a knock on the adjoining door. I pulled back the latch and opened the door. John came into my room and asked if I was ready to go. I looked at the door, looked at John, picked up my purse, and we went. There were a lot of visitors on the icebreaker, and I made sure to shake all the hands outstretched to me. Besides, I had a little too much to drink and didn't eat enough. When John picked me up and we headed for the exit, I felt pretty relaxed. When we got to my door, I put my card in the lock and pushed my door open. I turned around and said goodnight to John before letting the door close. I undressed and headed for the shower. The warm water perfectly relaxed my tired body. I dried off, put on my nightgown, and headed for the waiting bed. I collapsed on the bed and immediately fell asleep. I woke up briefly and felt Mark's arm thrown over my side, and his palm squeezing my chest. I always felt safe and loved it when he hugged me that way. Very slowly, just as dawn was breaking, I began to become aware of my surroundings. Panic began to take hold of me when I remembered that I was not in my home bed. My body tensed as I tried to plan my escape. Take it easy, baby. It's me. I came over to offer you a cup of coffee at night and found you sound asleep. You looked so peaceful, I just had to join you. I turned around. John, you scared the hell out of me. How did you get here? He pointed to the adjoining door. Just like before. I lay there, wishing my heart would slow down. My fear caused an adrenaline rush, and I was almost suffocating. I turned my head towards him. He smiled and reached out to stroke my face. God, you're so beautiful. I remember when we slept together. Sometimes I would lie awake for hours and just watch you sleep. I studied every line on your face so that I could always see you when I closed my eyes. His eyes told me that he meant every word he said. I sighed. John, I'm married. I can't be here with you like this. Please, John, if you love me, you have to respect my marriage. His eyes studied my face for a few moments. I really love you. I will never stop loving you. Amy, just let me hug you tonight. I promise I won't keep doing this. Please, baby, let me hug you and pretend we're back together. I knew it was wrong. I knew I should have made him leave, but I wanted him to hug me, wrap me in his big, strong arms and hold me tight. I turned to him and kissed him on the forehead, and then looked into his pleading eyes. John, I love you too. I love being here with you like this, but we can't let this go on. I want you to hug me. I want to feel your arms around me. It's wrong and not what a married woman should do, but I need to be there for you just this one time, this crazy weekend. Can I trust you? He gave me his boyish smile and kissed the top of my head. He put his hand under my neck as I turned my back to him and snuggled up to him. His other arm wrapped around me, and I pulled his hand to my chest. He whispered into the back of my head, Amy, my love, I will never be able to do anything to hurt you. Thank you for letting me stay. You're perfectly safe with me. John was true to his word, and I had a surprisingly restful sleep. When I woke up, I was pressed against him. I could hear his even breathing and smiled when I recognized his cute little snore. I felt warm and safe in his arms. I'm not sure what made me do it. So good. Please use me. John started hammering into me, using me harshly. John gripped my thigh with a death grip and entered me as deep as he could. I squeezed it as the moment gripped me. Wave after wave of pleasure washed over me. It was so strong that my whole body was just convulsing. John hugged me tightly. Thank you, baby. I dreamed of having you again, and now you've made my dream come true. We must have fallen asleep, because it was almost noon when I felt John get out of bed. Hey, Sonia, we need to get dressed and go to the club. It was interesting to watch the match, and the club was impressively beautiful. After lunch, we wandered around the area and then headed back to the hotel. We had a light dinner and then went to our rooms. John came in through the connecting door and joined me in my bed. I knew I was going to use it again, but we needed to talk. John, you know that I have deep feelings for you, but I love my husband and my family. What we have here is just a temporary phenomenon, two old lovers reunited for a short time. I hope you understand and feel the same way. Don't worry, I know you would never leave Mark. Amy, I can't deny that I would like to have you as my wife and be with you 100% of the time, but I know that's not possible. I think tomorrow I will insist on an annual review of our deal before I sign it. If you agree to this, we can meet here every year to extend the contract and repeat our relationship. Every year? So if I agree, we'll keep our distance and meet here only once a year? How's the anniversary or something? It's not what I want, but something more is dangerous, and I'm afraid you'll be discovered. I promised never to hurt you. I don't want to ruin your marriage. I agreed, and we made love until early in the morning. It's like we've always been together. I freely gave him my body, and he took whatever he wanted. The meeting on Monday went quickly, and all the papers were signed. We had lunch, and I went back to my room. John came over and asked me to kiss him goodbye. We kissed hard, and I fought back tears as he left my room. Mark, the few days at the resort without Amy went better than I imagined. Sherry has always been a bit bitchy towards me in the past, but not this weekend. I had a good time with her while we entertained the kids. She looked great in a swimsuit, and I found myself fantasizing about her. Damn, I felt horny. We spent the whole day at the beach on Sunday, so by evening the kids were exhausted and quickly fell asleep in Sherry's room. We arranged the children in 2 beds, and then decided to watch a movie in my room. I opened the bag of popcorn to share it, so she and I ended up on the same bed in my room. We drank some wine and watched a stupid horror movie that Sherry had chosen. As the movie got more intense, Sherry snuggled up to me. I hugged her protectively, and she hugged me. I felt her tremble and hugged her to me. I looked at her face, but her eyes were glued to the TV. I looked down and could see a fair amount of cleavage. I lost interest in the stupid movie when I stared at my slender daughter-in-law. I had just started lifting my left knee to try to hide the awning protruding from my shorts when a dramatic event must have happened in the film. Sherry squeaked, buried her face in my neck, and clutched at my upper body. I reacted by putting my hand on her back and hugging her tightly. My protective embrace pulled her to my body. I patted her, and she slowly loosened her grip, but kept her hand on my chest. She tilted her head back a few inches and looked up at me. I smiled at her, and she looked down. I'm sorry, it scared me. I'm sorry I grabbed you like that. No problem, I said, giving her a little squeeze and smiling. She turned her face to watch the movie, but she didn't move away from my body. Very slowly, I began to put tiny circles on her back. She responded by gently stroking my thigh. It was so gentle that I wasn't sure if she even realized she was doing it when she looked at the screen. As the credits rolled, Sherry turned her face to look at me. I hugged her to me, bent down and kissed her gently on the lips. She snuggled up to my chest and kissed me back hard. Oh my God, Mark. I want you so much that I'm ready to scream. I couldn't speak. My lust-clouded brain couldn't form any words. I pulled up the hem of her dress. Sherry pulled away from my chest and sat up, straddling me. I pulled off the dress and threw it aside. She clung to me as I took her bare breasts in my hands. She leaned forward and kissed me hard. Take off your shorts, she said, jumping up and locking the connecting door. I did as she asked and then caught her in my arms. Yes. Oh my God. It feels so good. She moaned as I slid into her. I was slowly going in and out while we were kissing furiously. When I started kissing her neck, she wrapped her legs around mine. Oh my God, Mark. Use me. It poured out when our bodies touched. I got lost in her body. I just wanted to use her as much as I could. I slammed into her as hard and as fast as I could. I bumped into her again. I felt my moment approaching. I tried to tell her, but I only managed to chuckle. Yes. Oh my God. Yes, I'm coming. Oh my God. I tried to shift some of my body weight onto her while we were kissing, but just collapsed and rolled us onto our sides. Breathing heavily, I brushed a strand of her disheveled hair from her face. Sherry's eyes slowly opened, and she smiled broadly at me. That was all I was hoping for. I've wanted you for so long. Mark, I'm sorry. I just couldn't stop. Me too. It's so wrong. You're my wife's sister. God, Sherry, I'm so sorry. She put her finger to my lips. It's okay. We both just got carried away. It happened. Now we just have to live with it. We can't undo what we've done. It just has to remain our secret. I nodded in agreement. What else could I do? We cleaned ourselves up and opened the door connecting the rooms. The next morning, the children found us sleeping in separate beds. Amy, Mommy. The children screamed when I entered our room. I hugged my children and struggled with the guilt I felt when I reached out to kiss my husband. I hugged him tightly and whispered in his ear, I love you. I love you too. I'm glad you're here. We've missed you. I felt another wave of guilt wash over me. I choked back tears and made a happy face as I turned to the children. Let me change my clothes, and then maybe you guys can show me how to find the beach. Chaos broke out among the children, and Sherry said, Go put on your costume, and we'll organize this gang. The rest of the vacation went well. I made love to Mark several times, and my guilt lurked when I renewed my devotion to my wonderful husband. Mark. When Amy first joined us, she seemed a little out of her mind. I was worried that I had somehow warned her about what I had done to Sherry, but everything worked out and the week went well. With the exception of a few brief touches, I managed to stay away from Sherry until noon the day before we left. We were all at the beach, and Amy asked me to go and get some fast food. She didn't want to leave and wanted the children to keep playing. Sherry volunteered to come with me, and we went back to our rooms to get my wallet and keys. The loud smacking sounds from the contact of our bodies sounded almost like applause. Sherry moaned into her pillow and clutched at the sheets when the moment came. I fell down next to her, and she smiled at me. Damn cool again. Damn you. Why did you do that? Now I really feel guilty, I whined. Sherry laughed. Don't worry, stud. This will be our last time for a while. Now get yourself cleaned up and let's go eat. Amy. A week after returning from the beach, Sherry was with us, and Mark went to play golf with friends. Sherry had been there for about an hour when she suddenly said, Okay, tell me what the hell is bothering you. I was startled. I tried to kick away, but she kept looking at me. I sighed. John was there that weekend in Jacksonville, representing another company. John? She looked at me intently. John Hardy, your ex-boyfriend? Yes, John Hardy. Holy shit. How? What? I mean, is he married now? Did you spend time together? Divorced, and yes, I spent a lot of time with him, I said, studying the floor. Sherry studied my face. Oh my God, Amy, you used him. Oh my God, keep your voice down. I warned her. It wasn't planned. Neither of us knew the other would be there. Something bad has happened. We've been together all weekend and everything. I tried to keep him away, but, but, damn it. I still have feelings for him. I started to cry. Sherry hugged me. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to get through this. It was only once, and you'll probably never see him again. I looked at the floor and didn't say anything. I couldn't look at her. Amy, what happened? Tell me what you did. He spent 2 nights in my bed. We made love at least 5 times and, so what? What happened? We're him. We have included this in the contract. We have to renew the contract every year in Jacksonville. He and I will be together every year for one more weekend. I know it's so wrong. It's cheating. But I wanted it. I agreed to it. Wow. Damn it, Amy. It's one thing to let a strange situation slip away from you, but it's quite another to plan an annual meeting. I know. It's not fair to Mark, but I want it, Sherry. I think if it's only scheduled for one weekend a year, we can stay away from each other the rest of the time. Tears started to flow, and Sherry hugged me. She seemed to be deep in thought. I dabbed at my eyes and tried to pull myself together. Do you really think you can limit yourself to meeting John once a year? I have to. It's too much of a risk to try to see him more often. I just can't let Mark find out about it. Don't worry, sis. I'll definitely come up with something for Mark to do this weekend. Will you do that for me? Of course, I will make sure that he does not have a moment of rest, because it's only one weekend a year. Sherry hid her evil grin. Hey, maybe you should think about making this a semi-annual update. I smiled at her. My older sister, always looking out for me. Sherry. When I was driving home, I was amazed at all the events that led me to this moment. This horn dog Mark asked me to join them on vacation so he could transfer the kids to me while he uses Amy. And then Amy gets dragged away from their vacation only to be dumped with John for the weekend? Then my sister sends the two of us to our room and I use it again. Now once a year she gives it to me for the whole weekend so she can go play with John. Damn, my lucky break. While Amy is having the weekend, thinking about how much fun Mark and I are going to have makes my panties get wet. In fact, I'm pretty sure Amy will understand what I'm doing with Mark, but what can she say? While she's making love to John, she can't complain about Mark using me. If Mark somehow ever finds out that Amy is cheating, there's nothing he can do about it, because he's cheating too. I suppose I could have blabbed and put it all out in the open, but what would be funny about that?